So do you want to raise the level of your creative writing to really hit those top bands? So this is what we're going to be looking at today, a particular technique which will really impress the examiner. And that technique is a flashback. And it doesn't have to be a long one. In fact, you haven't got time to do a long one, but I'll show you how to do it in this video. So most GCSE stories feel flat. They might well be clearly written, but there is a lack of depth. And in order to hit that top mark, you need to have some sophistication. That's the word that they have in the mark scheme. So this is a way to add that sophistication. A flashback, it could be just one memory, maybe just 3 sentences long, and it could make the difference between a flat story and a grade 9 story. So if you want a grade 9, you need to show not just what happens in the moment, but also what shaped your character. And this is the way a flashback and a backstory does that quickly and effectively. Let's look at how. So first of all, what is a flashback? So it's a quick memory that interrupts the main story, and it's usually triggered by something in the present moment. It's often something sensory, so it might be a sound, a smell, or a touch. And what it does, it gives the reader extra insight into the character, and it makes the character feel more real and three-dimensional, and it creates more interest. If we can believe in your character, we're hooked by your story. So, for example, this is the picture of the exam paper we've been looking at over the last couple of weeks. So she touched the cold iron of the gate and suddenly remembered the fence at school. And then obviously we could go into that quick flashback. Step 1, there has to be a trigger in the present. So it might be, start with something your character experiences now. For example, her palm froze against the iron. So include some sort of sensory detail. So it might be a sound like footsteps, laughter, or the sound of wind, a smell, rust, smoke, rain, a physical sensation, the cold metal, the stinging cut, the heat of fire. So some small detail that triggers this memory. So these are things that you can prepare in advance, rather than expecting yourself to have to come up with them in that 45-minute exam. If you create your character before you go into the exam, as I encourage you to do, you can think of a backstory and a trigger that you could perhaps pull in to any creative writing piece that you're asked to do. So step 2 is the transition into the past. So use that same sensory detail to link to the memory. For example, she remembered the same biting cold when the older kids dared her to climb the fence. So you notice here that the cold iron, both for the gate and the fence, that's the bridge between the past and the present. And obviously this is a sophisticated technique because it's not just a chronological narrative. You're not just starting at the beginning and saying what happened and then ending at the end of the day. That's simplistic. What we're trying to do here is create more interest by playing around with the structure. Okay, so then step 3, you're then back in the past. It's this mini scene, 2 or 3 sentences in the past, but don't summarize it. Don't say this is what happened. She remembered when this and that happened. You actually want to have the scene. You want to write it as if it's happening. Sometimes people in the flashback actually write it in the present tense. You can do that. You don't have to do it, but that can give it the sort of immediacy as if it's happening now. This example isn't. It is written in the past tense, but you can see that it's not just a summary. It's actually as if it's happening. The jeers rang in her ears as she pulled herself up, legs shaking, the laughter burning hotter than the chill of the iron. And you've got a nice bit of contrast there, the laughter burning and the chill of the iron. So you've got the sounds, the jeers, the laughter, you've got the feelings, fear, the shame, and you've got the action. She's climbing the fence. Just in that short sentence, you've got a lot going on, a lot to credit. Okay, and then step 4, you return to the present. So you bring the character back to where they were. And for example, she blinked, dragged back to the silent garden, her hand still pressed to the rusted bars. So it is important, keep the flashback brief, a few sentences, then back to the main story, because you haven't got time to write a huge long flashback. It would, if you're writing a novel, that would be a different matter, but you're writing a short story, you've got 45 minutes. But a couple of sentences where you're flashing back is a really good idea to use. Now, and this is the reason why it's a good idea, why it works. Flashbacks add depth because they make the characters more sympathetic, so we get a deeper understanding of them. We show what shaped their fears, hopes, or choices. It adds emotional weight to the present action. Okay, so it gives it that bit of depth. And it shows sophistication with narrative time, and examiners reward this. You are creating a structure that is that is carefully crafted. It's not just I woke up at the beginning of in the morning, this and happened, then went to bed. I mean, that's just chronological. When you're playing around with structure, it shows that you've got that there's a confidence about your writing and that you're able to craft your ideas. Pitfalls to avoid: don't overuse it. It'll get confusing if you keep going back. I would say stick in a short story where you've only got 45 minutes. I would say 1 flashback's enough. 2 at the very maximum, but I think I would really stick to 1. Keep them brief, about 3 sentences, 5 sentences, absolute maximum, and always connect back to the main action. Don't let the readers forget what's happening at now, in the present moment. Otherwise, that could get a bit confusing. So here's a model paragraph. She gripped the gate, the iron biting into her palm. It was the same biting cold when she clung to the wire fence at school, dared by the others to climb higher. Their laughter spurred her on, but the fear in her stomach felt the same. She blinked, dragged herself back to the silent garden, her hand still pressed to the rusted bars. Okay, so we've got depth there, haven't we? We've got a sense that this character's got a history. It's so much more interesting than she just gripped the gate, the iron biting into her palm. We've got a sense that there are things that have happened in the past which have shaped her in the present. Okay, so have a go at this. Write your own flashback. So first of all, choose a sensory trigger. It could be a smell, a sound, or a touch. Link it to a past memory. So think of a past memory, usually a past memory that it is that has some significance. So it could be a time when they were very frightened, or a time where there's a strong emotion connected to it. Write 2 or 3 sentences showing the memory as a scene, and then return your character to the present. So pause the video and have a go at that, because this will really elevate your writing. Okay, so key takeaways. You have the flashback. What the flashback involves is you have a trigger, then you have the transition, the mini scene, and then the return. It adds depth to your character, it builds sympathy and tension, and it keeps your writing fresh and original, and it shows the examiner that you can manipulate narrative time. As I keep saying, it's a sophisticated technique, and that is what examiners are looking for in order to get you into that top band. And 1 well-placed flashback can lift your story into grade 9. And I have seen this happen time and time again when I've been marking exam papers. The vast majority of students do not include sophisticated techniques. So when you do use them, you will stand out. Okay, good luck with that. So if you want your question 5 to stand out, don't just describe what your character sees. That's fairly standard. Show us what shaped them. And if you want some more top tips, download my free Paper 1 Top Tips Guide. The link is down below. And subscribe for more lessons on grade 9 strategies. I will be going through every question on both papers, so I will see you soon.